Hello again, beautiful artists, and welcome back to another episode of Paint Along with Skye. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Skye and I post beginning level acrylic tutorials here on YouTube every Saturday. So make sure to hit subscribe so that you can join the fun and paint along. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. Okay, so this week we are gonna do a combo of some of my absolute favorite things, which are pumpkins and sunflowers. This is a super cute and simple still life tutorial here, just celebrating all things fall. So thank you for being here to paint along. I'm gonna be using 4 brushes for today's painting. So I have a square, large 1-inch wash brush. I have my medium-sized pointed brush, and then I have 2 small detail brushes, one small and one even smaller. Okay, the colors that I'm going to use to start my background today, all I have is just white, black, and a little bit of phthalo green. Keep in mind this painting is totally customizable, so I'm going to be using the green for my background, but you can really do any color that you like. If you'd like to see a materials list of everything that you'll need and what I recommend, go ahead and check the description box below. It'll take you to my website and show you everything you need to paint along. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to grab my medium-sized brush. I'm going to do a really simple starting line here with gray. So I'm just going to use black and white together just to make a nice kind of medium gray. And I'm going to create a horizon line here to sort of give myself place. And I'm going to go up maybe about 1/3 of the way with a somewhat straight back and forth line. All right, horizontal line there. Chopping off that bottom 1/3 here of your canvas. Great. And now I'm going to retire that brush and grab my big brush so that we can move things along a little bit faster. And I'm going to grab quite a bit of white and bring it up here near my phthalo green. And I'm going to mix a gorgeous teal, which is honestly my favorite color, which is why I decided to do this for the background today so that it would go with all of my paintings. And sort of my house. So now I'm going to fill the whole top 2/3 here in with that gorgeous teal. And you could totally do like a purple or a blue or a yellow or an orange or any color that you like. I'm also going to grab some white because I want to have a little bit of color variation and texture in this, what's a wall. Okay, so this would be like a painted, beautiful colored wall. I would totally paint my walls teal if I could, but alas, I'm in a rental like so many of us here in the United States. So one day, I'd love to have actually a tiny house and I would totally have everything teal. Okay, a little bit more here. Just gonna bring that all the way down here to meet your gray line. And it's okay if it goes a little bit further than that. It's also okay if you blend a little tiny bit of gray into your teal. That's totally fine. Still looks very pretty. So lots of texture here, a little bit of variation in the opacity of your color. So some areas are going to be a little bit more white and some areas are going to be a little bit darker green. And yeah, it's totally fine if you get a little bit of gray in there too. You could even add it on purpose if you wanted. Okay, a few more areas here just to lighten things up and maybe a little bit of more dark green over here because I want that sort of like antiqued look, like a textured wall paint job. Okay, lovely. Now I'm going to rinse the green out of my brush, dry it off a little bit on my paper towel, and we're going to do the bottom part here. Very simple background, keeping it easy to start with today. We're gonna have a lot much more when we come back from break. So I'm gonna take that same brush, this time loaded up with that gray that I started with. And this is going to be my opportunity to make an even straighter line. And you wanna have it come up into the green a little bit. And then we're gonna go back and forth here. It's totally fine if you get a little bit of variation in your color. We're not going for just a solid opaque gray, totally fine. And then I'm gonna grab a little bit of white and gradate my way down here to the bottom. So you can see it's just a little bit lighter than the top part, and that's just gonna give us a little bit of depth here in our composition. Okay, and it's a little subtle right now, so I think what I'll do is add just a little bit more white here at the bottom. So I'm gonna get a little bit of a gradation going from a darker gray to a sort of medium gray, and then just going back and forth over that. Don't be shy, get your brush going and a blending. All right, that's looking nice. Super simple background. That's literally all we need to do for the background. And now we're gonna step away and let this dry, and I will see everyone in a few minutes with a whole bunch more. Okay, welcome back. We have a dry background here, and I got fresh colors on my piece of palette paper. So I have black and white, and then a little bit of bright yellow, bright orange, red, a little bit more phthalo green, and a warm burnt sienna type brown. Okay, let's go ahead now and jump right back into it. I also cleaned my brushes and got fresh water at break. And now we are going to create our pumpkin shape. And I'm going to use my medium-sized brush for this again. Keep in mind, if you ever feel like you don't quite have enough control, you can always go with a smaller brush. But I'm gonna use this medium-sized brush today. I do have a fair amount of white here because I am gonna be using white in a couple different areas. Okay, so let's start now with the bottom part of our pumpkin. We want the pumpkin to be pretty big, okay? This is the focal point and kind of main part of our painting. So we're gonna have it come sort of flat and then come up and around in like almost like a heart shape, but without the pointed bottom. And I always start small so that I can make it a little bit bigger as I fill it in. Much more forgiving that way, much harder to make things smaller. All right, and we're not gonna have the stem of the pumpkin showing. So you can just do like a little curved brush stroke like so for the main part of the pumpkin here. And now we're gonna just fill it in, but we do want to be mindful of how our brush strokes are going in as far as direction. So you actually wanna kind of go with the direction of the pumpkin shape as we start to fill in here. And I'm guessing that for most of us, we're gonna need 2 coats of white. So that is okay if you're still seeing a little bit of your horizon line and table and background there. I'm gonna need 2 coats. I decided to do a white pumpkin. I believe that's called a Cinderella pumpkin. So cute. God, I love pumpkins. I am that person, that basic white girl, which, you know, let us have our fun, all right? Just because we like fall doesn't mean we're basic. All right, gonna fill that all in like so, but I think an orange pumpkin would obviously be super cute as well, or even a blue pumpkin. I seriously considered doing a blue pumpkin, but I decided to go with white instead, and I like how it turned out. But you get to do your favorite color pumpkin and make your painting your own. Okay, back and forth here, or up and down rather, just like so, and that looks perfectly fine to me. Let's go ahead now and do a little bit of a shadow. So I'm gonna use my second to smallest detail brush here, and I'm gonna mix up a slightly darker gray than the gray that is here on our table. Okay, so a little bit darker here, and right at the base of my pumpkin, I'm just gonna do like a little oval like so. It doesn't even need to be even. And I'm just going to fill it in with that gray, just creating a sense of place so that our pumpkin is placed firmly on our table there and not just floating. Okay, looking good. Just getting that all filled in, leaving our pumpkin alone for a minute. Whatever color you got going on, you'll probably need a second coat. So just letting that dry for a minute. Okay, that looks good. And now let's go up top and we're going to start to block out all of our flowers and our leaves and everything like that. So let's go ahead and grab our white. I still have that second to smallest brush here, detail brush. And you can do as many flowers as you'd like. I'm going to start with white for these flowers as well. And what I'm going to do is just kind of start in the center here and pull my brush strokes out in every direction to create my little sunflower. So I find that it makes a little bit nicer kind of end of each petal if you go from the outside in rather than the inside out. But I also find it's kind of easier for me to start going from the inside out. So I actually kind of go around and around here and end up doing like 2 rounds of brush strokes for these flowers. And we're again just getting it blocked out with that white. And we're gonna come back later and add some nice bright yellow. And this white is going to help us considerably with the opacity of the yellow. Okay, so you can do as many flowers as you like. I think my original, I had 5. And most of them are facing forward. Okay, that's kind of just for the sake of simplicity. And this is going to be potentially a little bit confusing once you're kind of overlapping white on white here. But it's all gonna make a lot more sense once we add the yellow onto these flowers. So just making sure that we have every shape blocked out. We're also starting to build up the texture, because texture actually has a lot to do with acrylic painting too. If it was completely flat, it would not be like as 3-dimensional, like quite literally. Okay, and this one is going to be kind of poking out from behind here. And again, this will make more sense once we fill it in with yellow. But yeah, actually I decided to have this one overlap. So this guy is gonna be poking out. You may not even see that well on the camera right now until I get the yellow on it. So just bear with me. Going quickly here. Always feel free to pause if you need it. That's what's so great about the virtual format here, is that you don't have to keep up with me. You can do this entirely at your own pace over a few days, however you like. Okay, that looks great. I really like that layout. That looks fantastic. So I'm gonna go ahead now and go back to my pumpkin. It looks like it's dry enough to go ahead and get another coat on it. So a little bit of white again. I'm using my medium-sized brush once again. And now you can see there's much better coverage the second time that we go over this. Okay, just like so. Pulling the brush strokes down in the shape of the pumpkin in the same way. And really trying to get a fair amount of paint on there so that I do have enough coverage to where I can't see through my pumpkin. All right, and along the bottom here as well. Sometimes you can kind of lay the brush strokes down in a way that's more convenient, but then you want to come back and get those brush strokes going in the same direction, all right? Every brush stroke matters. I say that in almost all of my classes, and if I don't say it, it's because I forgot to mention it, but it's always applicable. Okay, nice. Getting the shape of the pumpkin there. And just making it as solid as possible. Okay. That's pretty good. I might even need a third coat. Okay, that looks pretty good for now. Let's go ahead and grab our smallest brush again, and we're gonna go ahead and do some leaves. So as we're letting all of our white dry for just a minute, I'm going to grab, again, that second to smallest brush, and I'm going to create a leaf color. So I'm gonna use my phthalo green, and I'm going to mix it with about equal parts of yellow. Very nice. And I'm now going to do a few green leaves. I'm gonna sneak a little bit of white in there too. So these are gonna be the leaves that come along with the sunflowers. But we are gonna do some fall leaves as well. And what I wanna do here is just kind of sneak this green in between the flower petals so that it looks like it's poking out from behind. And once again, I want to keep all my brush strokes going the same direction here in this shape of the leaf. Nice. Looks good. And let's have one coming from this side as well. Just kind of balancing out our little fall bouquet. This is very much like flower arranging, literally, only we're just doing it with paint this time. Okay, that's looking really good. We're gonna do a couple little curly cues as well, which are super cute. So I'm gonna go from one side here and kind of wiggle my way down my pumpkin and end with a little curly cue. So cute. Okay, just going right back over that to make it a solid green line. Just kind of figuring out each one of our spaces here. And then I'm gonna have another curly cue that's gonna go right through the white of my pumpkin. Like so, and all the way down. You might start to pick up a little bit of white, and that's okay. So we're kind of just getting everything blocked out here. I'm gonna do one more little swirl so that I can end it with a curly cue as well. Super cute. Trust the process here because this is all gonna come out very nicely. And just being careful here not to pull too much white through that. Okay, so cute, love it. All right, let's go ahead and do a couple of our fall leaves now as well. So I'm gonna grab some orange. These are gonna be similar shapes to what we just did with our green, but I'm gonna have this gorgeous bright orange color. And over here on the table, I'm going to start with an oak leaf. I'm gonna have these little curved brush strokes like so, and with a curve on the end, okay? Like that. And again, always starting small so that you can adjust it as needed. We're doing a shape like so, and then you're just gonna fill that in with your base color orange, getting our shapes figured out and our base colors figured out. Okay, I think we should do some leaves up here with the orange as well. So this shape I'm just going to do very much similar to the green leaves, just with an orange one as well. And then over here on my table, I'm gonna do another little one. So this is like a still life, or it's like a table decoration, okay? If you're having like a fall party or something like that, is where my imagination was at. Now I'm going to make a little bit lighter of an orange, so with more yellow here, to do a few more leaves. Just like so, gorgeous yellow leaf. And one over here. I think I'm gonna do a different shape. So I'm gonna have that main leaf part like so, and then I'm gonna have two little side leaves. Look at how cute this is looking. All right, and let's do one yellow orange leaf in our composition as well. And once again, this is totally customizable, so do as many or as few leaves as you would like. And we're again working on top of that slightly wet white still. So I'm just kind of figuring out where all these shapes are gonna be, but you can always go back and finesse it, as I like to say. Okay, that's looking good. And you know what? This actually needs another second to dry. So I think I kind of got ahead of myself and went a little bit too fast. So I'm just gonna give this another 5 minutes to dry really quick, and then we're gonna come back and finish our pumpkin and our flower area. So I will see you guys in like 5 minutes, okay? Sorry about that. All right, I'll see you in a few. Okay, artists, we have more to do. Sorry for the pause there, unexpected break. Needed to let that dry even more. So that just goes to show you I'm using like not top of the line paints. Today I bought a big jar of white. So I'm not using my Grumbacher white because I use so much white. It doesn't have pigment in it, but that just goes to show why you pay a little bit extra for the more pigmented versions. But no worries, we're dry now. I did hit it with a little bit more white even, but let's go ahead now and work back in our pumpkin. So I'm gonna grab my second to smallest detail brush here, and I'm going to create like a neutralized brownish gray. So I'm gonna take some brown and just add a little bit of black and white to that. Okay, and with this color, I'm gonna create like the folds, the kind of curves in my pumpkin shape. So I'm gonna have 2 curved lines here on either side, like so. And then 2 more kind of right in the middle. Okay, so that we have each little segment of our pumpkin. So cute. Okay, just gonna bring that all the way down to the bottom and up again. You wanna bring that all the way to the bottom part of your pumpkin there. You wanna make sure you don't get too close. I almost got too close, but I think it's gonna look just fine. Okay, I'm just going back over that a couple times to try to make it nice and solid. All right, either side here. Very nice. Okay, looking good. Now I'm gonna take my medium-sized brush and kind of right around those main lines, I'm going to take a slightly lighter shadow color. So just added some white into that neutralized brown that I had. I'm going to do a few brush strokes kind of coming up here in the direction of those lines, starting to create sort of that illusion of roundness. I'm gonna go ahead and take that on either side here of the pumpkin as well. Looks good. It's funny how just really a few lines can make a big difference. And I'm going to do a little bit of gray as well. That's just black and white together. And just kind of adding in another tone just to kind of make it interesting kind of here and there. Okay, a little bit more kind of on the bottom, but still mostly white. Then I'm gonna hit the pumpkin one more time in those kind of center areas. Just again, making sure that I don't have any see-through. And that is finally looking like it is completely covered. All right, so that's looking a lot better. All right, I'm pleased. Now let's go back up into our beautiful bouquet. And I'm going to grab my second to smallest brush again and put a little bit of yellow into my white. And then that is going to be my sunflower petal color. I'm just going to take that color into every flower, covering where the white was. Okay, just like so. Very simple. And we did the white first so that, again, we could have a lot more opacity so that it wasn't quite so see-through. And we're bringing that yellow all the way down to the tips and ends there of our petals. Okay, starting to come together. Oh, I'd love to mention as well that if you are painting along with me today, I would love to see your art. So I created a Facebook group called the Art Club, designed for my students to share their art, whether it be from painting along with me on the weekends or just from your own studio and imagination. We would love to have you. It's free to join, and the link is in the description box below. Just using a little bit of yellow there, mixing it with white again to get better opacity. And making sure that I don't really have any areas here that are like the blue background still. Okay, so you want to bring that right up to the shapes here, so like the fall leaves and the green leaves and the other flowers, okay? No gaps here, just kind of overlapping even a little bit is ideal. Okay, look at how cute that looks, love it. Okay, well, we have that yellow. Let's go ahead and take that into our leaves as well. So I'm gonna go just do a few little kind of curved brush strokes around here. And I can pull a little bit of orange in as well to kind of tone it down slightly. My paint's dried a little bit, had break. That's okay. We got enough going on to make it work. All right, looking good. Just adding a little bit of highlight sort of randomly on each of those leaves. And this leaf here looks like it needs another coat. So I'm gonna grab some of my yellow orange. I'm gonna do a second coat on that leaf just to make it nice and vibrant, like so. Super cute, looking good. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing with my greens. I'm gonna take a little bit of white and yellow and mix a lighter green. Here's my highlight color. And I'm just going to throw that onto these leaves as well. And if you ever feel like you went a little bit too heavy-handed, you just take some of that base color from underneath and tone it down slightly. Okay, let's go back on our flowers now for a minute. We're actually almost at the sort of final detail stage already when we bring in the black. So that's when things are really gonna get exciting. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit of orange now. This does have a pinch of yellow in it, still a little bit of kind of a secondary color now that we're gonna add to our petals. And I'm very delicately just going to kind of add a little bit of orange as kind of like a shadow in each one of my flowers. You don't want to do it all the way around. It's really just like an accent, okay? Like so. And once again, you can add a little bit of yellow right back on top if you added too much orange. Okay, but that looks so cute. I love it. Okay, let's go ahead now and do the centers of those beautiful sunflowers. So I'm gonna use my same brush and some black now, although you're welcome to use the even smaller brush if you would prefer. And we're just going to do fairly big circles in each one of these shapes now. So since they're sunflowers, you want the circles to be pretty good size in comparison with the flower. Okay, these are like maybe the slightly smaller wild sunflowers, or maybe this is just a really big pumpkin. I don't know, but it looks cute and I feel like it balances nice with this size. Okay, looks great. Now I'm going to grab my smallest brush, and this is maybe a little bit time consuming, but we got this going. We're gonna be just fine. I'm gonna grab a little bit of brown here and I'm gonna do some stems for my leaves. Super cute, loving it. And then I'm going to do quite a bit with black. So I'm going to kind of outline every shape here, but I'm not going to really spend too much time trying to make it look all solid and perfect. I'm gonna do lines right down the centers of my leaves. It's okay if this looks a little bit whimsical. That's kind of what we're going for here, okay? So just like so. I really like adding black outlines to things. There's a definite consensus in the art world that you're not supposed to use black paint, but I'm not one to really follow when people say I'm supposed to do this, but particularly when it comes to painting and art, because I feel like painting is kind of whatever you want it to be. And we're not going for photorealism here, okay? So, you know, if I was doing a landscape or something, then I can see where that would pertain to me. But in this case, I don't think it does. All right, and just a little curved center line right through the center of my leaves. And then here at the base of the pumpkin, I'm gonna have a little bit of black line kind of coming up, and then ever so slightly kind of curve my way to the next segment. And that's really gonna give me that nice, like, curved, segmented pumpkin look. All right, just like so. And it should just kind of meet your brown there and kind of fade away into the brown. All right, and a little bit of water always helps that paint go nice and smooth. All right, you could even use like a paint pen for steps like this when I have a lot of black outlining. Just keep that in mind. I pretty much always prefer to hold a brush though. Okay, I'm gonna outline either side of my pumpkin, being fairly careful. You can use a slightly larger brush if you'd like things to go faster, but you'll have a little bit more control if you go ahead and use this small brush. Okay, just like so. And we're gonna go ahead and do a line here of separation where our table is. Nice. On either side here. Okay. All right, and then up in our flowers is kind of my favorite part. So I'm gonna kind of wiggle my way around each flower, kind of accenting the petals like so. And you kind of wiggle, 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 and then stop, and then pick up again in a new segment. But you don't need to have a perfect little wiggle all the way around, all right? That's what's giving this really cute, whimsical look. Very nice. And I think that it really, since we have the black in the center of the sunflowers too, I think especially that this technique looks really nice. You gotta make sure that you decide which flower is in front of which, or you're gonna get confused. Like so, okay. And I'm just gonna outline this beautiful fall leaf here as well. Super cute. And do a quick line down the center. And the green leaves, pretty much every shape we're outlining. Just like so. Okay, and then up here, it's kind of another opportunity to perfect those shapes. Okay, and we're just gonna have a center line here in either of our leaves. And I'll do a nice shadow here next to my green line. Like so, and all the way in the center there. Okay, and on the other side as well, we only have a few more steps, everyone. You've made it through the hardest part of this painting, and I feel like it comes together pretty nicely and is surprisingly simple for how cute it is. Looks good, just trying to be as neat as I can. And bringing the spiral all the way down here. Okay, I think I'm gonna take a little bit more green here and And just kind of touch this area up because it needed it. And I'm going to take a little bit of that same light green that I used to create some highlights in my green leaves, to create a few highlights in the tendrils. Just like so, just to kind of break that area up. And just a few areas like so. Cute, 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 cute. Loving it. Okay, a little bit of kind of final touches here. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of gray and I'm going to do kind of some shadows here where our leaves are touching the table, giving them a sense of place as well. Just kind of a few little brush strokes here and there. And then I'm gonna do some back and forth brush strokes kind of throughout my table, just like so, to kind of give the whole composition a sense of having some reflection and shadow here on our table. Okay, what do you think? Look at how cute that is. All right, let me know what you thought of today's painting in the comment section below. And I would love to see you over in the art club. So I do hope that you can join us over there. And that is all the instruction that I have for this week's painting. So happy autumn. Thanks for painting along, and I will see you next time. And until then, stay creative.